Hello and welcome to Cannon County High School Algebra 2. Today we are going to do another in our series of videos designed to help those of you who are trying to get your third quarter grade up to passing. And today we're going to look at BB12. Okay, and BB12 has to do with finding the sum of an arithmetic series. So Mr. Lyon, I'm going to have you supervise us from over here. And let's just get right to it, and let's look at the first problem they're going to ask us to solve. We need to get this up to 80%, so let's see here. The problem uses this strange notation. This is called sigma notation. This big E is a sigma. So this is, what they want us to do is add up the arithmetic series from 1 to 15 of 7n plus 2. And for this first one, I'm just going to show you on paper what that means so that it'll make a little bit more sense to you. Here's the problem that they're asking us to do. Okay, just remember, an arithmetic series is just a series of numbers that you're adding up, and that's what they're asking us to do. They want us to find the sum of all those numbers. There's two ways that you can do this. You could actually start with 1, plug in 7 times 1 plus 2, and that would equal 9. And then go to 2. 7 times 2 is 14. 14 plus 2 is 16. And then you could go to 3. 3 times 7 is 21. 21 plus 2 is 23, and so on. And you could do this. You have to go, in this case, from 1 all the way up to 15. You could add all those numbers up, and that would be the answer. Or you can use this formula. And the formula is the number of terms divided by 2 times the first term plus the last term. And this way is the much easier way than doing it this way, because this way you have to actually add up 15 things. So let's figure this out. How many terms are there if we're going from 1 to 15? That's exactly right. There are 15. So 15 divided by 2 times the first term, well, that's where you plug in the 1. 7 times 1 plus 2, we already said the first term is a 9. So that's going to be 9 plus the last term. Well, we haven't figured that out yet. What is 7 times, we have to plug in this last number, 7 times 15 plus 2? Well, I don't know either, so it's time to bust out the calculator. 7 times 15 plus 2 is 107. So we get 107. So this is what we need to calculate. So let's do that. 15 divided by 2 times 9 plus 107, and it says the answer is 870. And that's it. So let's type that in here, 870, and we'll go to the next problem. Okay, let's jump up a level. This is the same one. We're going from 1 to 15, 4n plus 3. That's no problem. This would be, what, 15 over 2 times whatever you get when you plug in a 1 plus whatever you get when you plug in the 15. Let's jump up a level and see if they can make these a little more complicated. No, it's almost the same problem. Let's jump another level. Okay, now we're getting up there. All right, well, let's take a look at this one. Find the sum of the infinite series, or I'm sorry, the finite series. Finite means it has an end. Let's see, this one looks a little more challenging because notice there's no n. It just says negative 44. It says from 1 to 14 of negative 44. We're going to add that up 14 times. But when I try to plug in something for n, there's nothing to plug in. So what in the world does that mean? All right, let's take a look at this. This is what it looks like. We're taking the sum from n equals 1 to 14. So that means I'm adding up 14 things. But all I have is a negative 44. There we go. So what does that mean? If I tried to plug in a 1 for n, there's no n. So the answer is just, for the first term, it's just negative 44. So this is really like negative 44 plus negative 44 plus negative 44. How many times? 14 times. So really, this boils down to negative 44 times 14. Because you're taking negative 44 added to itself 14 times, okay? And when I do that, I get, let's see, negative 44 times 14. Oops. I grabbed the computer instead of the calculator. Let's see, negative 44 times 14, and I get negative 616. Would we have gotten the same answer if we would have used our formula? Well, I think we would have. Let's try. Let's see. It would be 14. From 1 to 14, there are 14 terms. So 14 divided by 2. Well, the first term is negative 44. And the last term, right, would be negative 44. When we get all the way over here, negative 44 would also be the last term. So this ends up being 14 divided by 2 is 7. Negative 44 and negative 44, that's negative 88. I wonder, is 7 times negative 88 equal negative 616? Let's try it. 7 times negative 88. How about that? It is negative 616. So we would have got the right answer either way. So you have options. But that one looks a little different, so I wanted to show it to you. Okay, let's see, what did we say it was? Negative 616. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, this one's kind of similar to the previous one in that there's no n for us to plug into. But there is something different. Notice here it says n equals 0. Okay, well, let's take a look at that. I'm going to write that one down too. Oops. Hold on a minute. There we go. Let's see. Summation from n equals 0 up to 19 of 13. All right, kind of similar. There's nothing for me to plug into. This is going to be 13 plus 13 plus 13 plus 13 and so on. But how many terms are there? We've never started with 0. Let me ask you this. How many numbers are there if I want you to count from 1 to 5? How many numbers are, oops, you can't see that. How many numbers are there from 1 to 5? There are 5 numbers from 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me ask you this. How many numbers are there from 0 to 5? Well, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's actually 6 numbers that go from 0 to 5. So when we look at this problem, how many numbers, if this was from 1 to 19, you'd say there's 19 numbers. But how many numbers go from 0 to 19? There's actually 20 of them. So again, this is going to be 13 plus 13 plus 13, 20 different times. So this is going to be 13 times 20. 13 times 20. 13 times 20. You can probably do that in your head. It's 260. What if we would have used our formula? Well, that means from 0 to 19, that means there's 20 terms total. The first term is 13, and the last term is 13. So you end up with 20 divided by 2, 13 plus 13. What's 10 times 26? It's 260. So either way, you get 260 for your answer. All right. Let's see, we're at 74. Let's see what we need to do. Let's jump up one more level. See what kind of problem we get here. All right, we're at 90. If we can do a problem at 90, then we can do any of these. Let's try this one. This will be our last one. This one says we're going from 7 to 93. Well, that's different, but at least they give us something with an n to plug into, so that should make this a little bit easier. I'm going to write this one down on paper again, just because I think they're easier if you write them down on paper, because that way at least you know you're going to get the right answer. If you try to do these totally in your head or on the calculator, it's a good chance that you get them wrong. All right, let's use our formula. We're going to start at 7 instead of 1. That's okay. The only thing that we really need to figure out here is how many numbers are there from 7 to 93? Well, that would be 93 minus 7, right? So what is 93 minus 7? Well, that's 86. So let's see here. Let's make sure we understand this. Remember this problem when we went from, this problem right here. When we went from 1 to 15, how many numbers did we say there were? There were 15. What's 15 minus 1? It's 14. So when I do this, when I subtract these two numbers, what do I have to do with this number? I have to add 1 to it, don't I? So this is really going to be 87 divided by 2 times the first term plus the last term. All right, so now let's see if we can figure that out. We're gonna plug the 7 in right there. 3 times 7 minus 5. Well, let's see, 3 times 7 is 21. 21 minus 5, I don't need a calculator for that, that's 16. Let's try the 93. 3 times 93 minus 5. Well, now I need the calculator. 3 times 93 minus 5. Let's see. 3 times 93 minus 5. 274. So now I'm going to type all this into my calculator. 87 divided by 2, parentheses, 16 plus 274. And that comes out to 12,615. 12,615. So let's type that in and see if it likes it. 12,615, and we got it. So again, if you can get up to 90, you can certainly get up to 80. I hope this helps. If you have any questions at all, just put them down in the comments. And thank you for watching. Bye.